2023, I think. Yeah, I guess I can talk a little bit about what I do now. Yeah, I'm an English major at UCLA. And yeah, this program has been very important to me as a writer, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about that later. But
maybe we should sit down.
Oh yeah,
start by sitting down. Okay, well, for those of you who are joining us and are new to the Girls Write Now organization, welcome. Feeling invited and part of this space is really important. So I encourage you to maybe pull your chairs in and to just feel like we're all part of somebody's living room. Like they said, that's what we really want. Girls Write Now is a really special community based in New York. I joined it right before the pandemic because as a writer, I work as a copywriter. I've worked for Paramount, for Nike, for Who What Wear, lots of different brands from different entities. And I wanted to give back and help writers who are younger, finding their voice and trying to figure out what they wanted to do for a living with their writing skill. So I joined the Girls Write Now community. I'm a third-year mentor, and Mia and I worked together last year. And this we are celebrating the publication of Art of the Craft, which is an anthology, but also a writing toolkit for anybody that's aspiring to get their writing somewhere, whether you're an aspiring screenwriter, you want to get your poetry anthology published, or really it's just for a cover letter that you want to get a job to. I feel like Girls Write Now really have dedicated a lot of time and resources to recruiting mentors that can help writers advance those skills. And that's what we want to discuss with you this evening, the importance of having a good mentor in the writing space and setting down time to actually work on your writing skill if that's something that you want to develop as a writer. So we'll begin by talking about Girls Write Now as an organization. For those of you that don't know, Girls Write Now is 25 years old. It's a nonprofit based in New York that really partners with young writers from all sorts of different backgrounds, underrepresented groups, to make sure that they are getting published and have opportunities for excelling in high school, in college, and as a young professional. I don't know about you, Mia, but when I joined Girls Write Now, I hadn't written in a really long time outside of work. How did you find Girls Write Now as an organization?
I guess I found it because I really wanted a program where I was just allowed to write and just explore just as a variety of different forms of writing as possible, and just being able to practice my writing craft, I guess. And I felt like Girls Write Now was the perfect place to do that because it's a mentorship program that pairs you with someone who understands both your professional needs and your personal needs. I feel like it's just a really beneficial program for writers because it's tailored to the person. And so that's something I really was looking for in a writing program, and I found that in Girls Write Now.
And I'm right that you were about to apply to college when you applied to Girls Write Now. Do you remember what the application process was like? I know it was a long time ago, but how did that begin?
Yeah, for Girls Write Now, it was I think I had to submit a portfolio of some work that I was writing. I think I submitted some poems, and then they also asked for just little excerpts about what kind of person I am.
That's right.
Yeah, what I was looking for in a mentor, kind of just a bio about me.
You had to sort of a dating profile for your mentor.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you had to write one of those to me. They definitely asked that of me when I was being paired with a mentee. And as a mentor, you're given the option of sort of which age range you'd like to be partnered with. So my first year, I was with a high school student. And then I was partnered with somebody who was at the end of their high school journey applying to college. And most recently, my current mentee is somebody who's a young professional trying to figure out how to sort of shift writing skills into something that's paying significantly more, aren't we all? But that was something that was really important to my current mentee. The year has actually just ended at Girls Write Now. So the application to become a mentee or to become a mentor is opening up in the next month. So we're going to see a whole new class of people joining the program, which will be entering the 26th year, which is pretty substantial amount of time that this has been running. So I encourage you, if you're interested in doing something that's sort of in addition to a full-time job, in addition to school, that teaches you writing skills and introduces you to many more people that have this sort of skill and this passion, Girls Write Now is a really awesome organization, and that class is about to develop. So something to keep your eyes on if you if you're interested. So the path to Girls Right Now, you were on your way to basically figuring out the rest of your life, like where you were going to go to college. Did you have any idea when you were with the program where you wanted to go, and how did Girls Right Now help you with that path?
Yeah, honestly, not really. I just knew that I wanted to do something like writing related or like something creative. But I think Girls Right Now like really did help me like kind of like figure things out along the way, because like something I really liked about the program is like, in addition to like the mentorship, they had little like workshops where we would kind of like test out different styles of writing. So like there was like a screenwriting workshop, or there was like one on poetry, or just like being able to like write like visually, or just like write very like well. And I feel like those, just being able to like test out different styles of writing, like kind of did help me like figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. And then there was also like workshops on like professional development too, like stuff on like resume writing and like how to do like interviews and that kind of thing, which I thought was also really helpful. So I really like those things with the program, I think.
I really enjoyed all of the creative curriculum that they planned, because I went and studied a lot of technical writing skills when I was at university. And then when you graduate from university, you're either thinking, I'm going to go into a job and I'm going to have to carve out time to continue writing if it's something that I love, or you consider graduate school as like, maybe that's the path to go down to keep that, you know, that momentum alive. It's a very expensive decision just to keep writing. So I really like that there is a program like Girls Right Now available for people who want to sort of test out what kind of writing they enjoy, so that, you know, they're able to get either some kind of college credit instead of actually spending so much money on an educational program to be able to figure out what that was. And I think those courses that you were just mentioning, like, they were as entertaining and educational for mentors as they were for mentees. I had no plans when I moved to LA to become a screenwriter, but taking screenwriting courses were really fun. Do you remember anything about the classes and the curriculum that Girls Right Now programmed that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, they were really fun. I remember. I mean, I think I kind of just liked how it was also like very collaborative, I guess. Like, because like we would have like someone who was like an experienced like professional in the industry, like kind of like give like a little like slideshow of like what they know, like their experience, and then like kind of just like their process through writing. And then like they would have us kind of like do like a little prompt or like a little exercise. And then we would kind of like share our work with other people in like the like in the workshop. And then like it was just kind of cool to like hear from other people and like have it be kind of like a back and forth. Like you're kind of getting like feedback from other writers. I kind of like that, I think.
It was a special community. And often, you know, these kinds of communities, especially nowadays, are ones you have to pay for. They're like membership communities. Like, I don't know if anybody here remembers The Wing. The Wing was an example of like a women-owned co-working space / community. It was incredibly expensive, and it actually made what they were trying to create as an inclusive, female-oriented membership club really non-exclusive and difficult for people to be able to like participate and enjoy meeting each other. And this ended up like kind of going down after the pandemic, but that was an enormous benefit of Girls Right Now. These mostly remote classes that are all on Zoom, the opportunities to meet together and to learn, they thrived through the pandemic. I think the membership numbers for the program really increased during that time. And I don't know about you, but it felt really nice to be able to like log on to my computer and learn something during that lockdown when nobody could go out and spend time with each other. There was this like educational curriculum, and there were social events that we could participate in. So that was all really, really special, and a life jacket for the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I agree. Also, because like the people who would like lead a lot of these workshops were like very like educated like in their field. I think, you know, like they're coming from these like MFA programs or whatever. Like they've just like done like a lot of writing, and it's like a lot of the times like you would get that kind of quality of like education in writing. Like you would have to like pay to like get that education, kind of like how you would say. Like it's just such a beneficial program because it's like so like accessible to like high school students and just like anyone who's interested.
Totally.
So
maybe we should talk about like what we did. So for those of you that don't know, this is the first time Mia and I are meeting each other after several years of working remotely from across the coast. I was in New York when we were partnered together. Mia was in California. So navigating time differences and invalid Zoom links and all of that. That was an awkward phase. But now that we're meeting each other, it's really nice to meet you in person, by the way. To spend some time with somebody who we spent such time online writing in this really vulnerable state together, to suddenly be together in person and have like a very organic, healthy relationship, even though it was remote, is really special. And I think a testament to the type of pairing that Girls Right Now do. They connect people with really similar interests. Luckily, people that have a real interest in writing in their own time, because sometimes being reminded to work on something when you just want to watch TV is like the most annoying request ever. You want to watch whatever you're watching on, RuPaul's Drag Race or something, when really you should be writing. And that's one of the elements of Girls Right Now that I love, was the accountability. It never felt like work when we would jump on a Zoom call.
True.
Did you find, you can tell me the truth, did it feel like homework at any point?
I mean, it was definitely like a lot of work, but I think that like it was definitely like beneficial though, I think. And it did feel like fun. Like I did like the prompts that you would give me and stuff, like it felt like kind of like fun to like, I don't know, just like write about like silly like topics or whatever, like it was enjoyable, I think.
So the beginning of Mia's and my working relationship involved identifying where she was getting writer's block, like what was preventing her from being able to continue writing. We'd set a goal and then work towards it. And I think the goal that we set was to do with like holding you accountable to make sure that you keep writing on a regular basis. So I think the prompts was the suggestion for you consistently having something to respond to. Was that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember that time. Because I think I would do like prompts like each week or something like that. And it was really helpful for me to just like keep practicing writing just like as often as possible, and just to like just practice getting like my thoughts and just like envisioning like some kind of scenario and being able to like put it into words, like onto like I guess like a Google Doc, but like onto paper, I guess. It was just really helpful just to like practice and just like get into like the habit of like writing as often as possible.
Had you prior to that worked with an editor before?
I kind of would work with an editor like for like my like high school journalism program.
Right.
But nothing like creative, I don't think.
Right.
So getting feedback for like creative writing, I think, is like really helpful also.
How did you find that process when you would, bleed your heart out into a prompt response and then send it to me and I'd have like things crossed out and edit suggestions?
Oh my gosh. No, at first it was like kind of jarring because like I would feel really good about like whatever it is I wrote, and then like I would like check the Google Doc and then it's like a bunch of like crossed out stuff, and then I was like, oh, okay. But like it really helped me though. I think it like really did help me like figure out like just how to like improve like the way that I like write about things, and just like how to like perfect like my writing, I guess.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. Well, we've gone a little bit full circle. The reason we're here tonight is to celebrate 25 years of Girls Right Now. And this book, if you haven't picked it up, they're selling copies here this evening. And I don't think Mia and I are signing anything, but we can if you really insist. But in the book, it goes into a lot of different relationships that have existed over the 25 years, pairing what our theme was last year of connecting writers of the past mentees of Girls Right Now with contemporary mentees. And Mia's responsibility last year was to respond to an essay that had been written by a mentee from, I think, the early 2000s, 2003.
Yeah, I think so, something like that.
I think it was a 20-year difference, so 2003 to 2023. Do you remember anything about what you responded to? Because then I'd love you to read an excerpt from the book.
Yeah, I just know it was a piece about this person who was like walking through their neighborhood, like their hometown, and they're just kind of like describing it as like this like memory that like they wish they could like revisit. And yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to write something like sort of inspired by that, but like my own twist, like just like with my own memories.
Right. So. Well, with that, would you like to read an excerpt from what you
wrote? Yeah, sure.
So I'm not sure if anybody has a copy of the book. I can pass a couple of these around if you'd prefer to read directly, but very talented Mia is going to read an excerpt from her piece from last year.
We set our scene. Oh, okay, sorry. It's called Dear Mia. This piece centers on a love for writing and a life-changing third grade teacher. We set our scene on Hammond Street in Los Angeles, where I went to school. Entering my third grade classroom felt like stepping into the paper dome of a sunlit lamp. Its oculus, 3 wide windows, filtered light through glittering paper fish on a clothesline above our heads. As I sat cross-legged on the rainbow carpet, Miss Melzer painted a world of Roald Dahl giants and a type of magic that pillowed the sky. It was on this rainbow carpet that I imagined the thread sticking out from the hem of my polo. A worm unhooked itself from the earth, separated from its colony. I gently tugged it out and released it onto the floor.
Maybe read one more paragraph.
Oh, okay.
It's too good. You can't stop.
Okay. Months went by, and soon I was trick-or-treating with friends in their gated community. The neighborhood was much wealthier than the one I grew up in, only 30 minutes away. Houses were sliced into rows of pastel cakes down the street, and yards painted in pistachio hues. My tiny thumb pressed titanium doorbells all night. Each time, I wondered if it would fail to make an electronic chime, a castle with no voice. Trick or treat. As the door opened, I looked around for low ceilings and rugged carpets, just like my house had on the other side of town, but none were to be found.
I think she should keep going. Yeah.
Should I keep going?
Please do.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I guess I can go up to here. The asphalt track at school transformed into a riot of black and blue glitter at the Halloween parade the next day. The sun beamed down, and the thin frills on my handmade witch's skirt fried against my metal seat. Our class sat in rows and waited for our turn to showcase our costumes to our friends and family. I counted plastic tiaras, hoop skirts, and other costumes I had seen before inside Party City catalogs that came in the mail but I couldn't afford. When my little sister dressed as Belle wandered away from her group, I found her in the crowd and invited her to sit with me and my classmates. "You're such a great big sister, Mia," Miss Belzer beamed. "You remind me of me and my sister, always looking out for each other." In a crowd of monsters, I felt braver than ever.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Feel free to continue reading. We're all in awe right now. So
Yeah.
we can finish the piece.
Oh, I don't know. I think
we can stop there.
Yeah, I think
the goal of this piece, which I think Mia did really excellently, was to connect it to the original piece really well. It was about walking down a neighborhood street and the memories that it floods you with. And I don't know if anybody was able to pick this up, but it's a very sophisticated way of writing, especially at the beginning of this piece, that I was really impressed by when I met Mia. I didn't know that a high school student would have such sophisticated language skills and would be able to weave the text. And I like to say that I edited this with some advanced lensing, but really this was a very early draft of Mia's that was easy to develop, and she did a lot of hard work on her own. I at the end of every piece in this book, there is a writing prompt, which sort of connects the next 20, whoever, if Girls Right Now is running in 20 years time, allows that person to respond to Mia's piece. And with that writing prompt, we'd love to give everybody here an exercise this evening to start with what we call a stream of consciousness writing challenge, which is try and respond to what Mia is going to read as her prompt. Feel free to use one of these books, on the back of them preferably, to lean against for your piece of paper, and try and see what comes up for you. That's a really important skill that begins writing accountability. It's actually starting to write something down. And if anybody is comfortable with sharing their piece afterwards, we'd love you to stand and to read maybe even just some of what you've put together. So does anybody need something like a hard surface to lean on? Yeah. Just going to use the backs of these books. Thank you.
Great. While she's passing those out, I can read out the prompt.
Do you want to stand up?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Also, the writing prompt that we'd love you to respond to this evening, Mia is going to read to you. If anybody has any questions before you start, we'll give you guys 5 minutes to respond. For those of you that are joining us by live stream, feel free to get out a piece of paper and a pencil and to respond to this prompt in the next 5 minutes.
Okay. So the prompt is, write a story solely by describing a space or setting in detail that symbolizes a complicated feeling. What characteristics of the space are contrasted or are related to one another to represent this feeling?
Can I repeat it one more time?
Okay, yeah. So write a story solely by describing a space or setting in detail that symbolizes a complicated feeling. And what characteristics of this space are contrasted with one another or are related to one another to represent this feeling?
If you'd like to read the prompt yourselves, it's on page 110 in the copies that you have. and we'll let you guys start for 5 minutes. Good job. Do you want to write? Okay, I'm just going to steal 2 of your pens. Thank you. Thank you so much. give everybody a few more minutes and we'll wrap things up, maybe 60 seconds. Okay. Hopefully I didn't cut anybody off and you're all confident with what you've written down. Any volunteers for standing up and sharing their piece? I know that's challenging. So if that sounds like the last thing you want to do, I understand. My only recommendation is that you read it out loud to yourself at some point tonight while it's still in your head. You don't have to do it with us. Mia and I are comfortable sharing our pieces right now, but there's something about reading your work out loud that really changes the way that you write. And we need to get into a habit, if we want to develop our writing, of hearing the words that we say. I don't know if anyone's listened to an audiobook of a book before. They prefer holding something in their hands like I do. But there's something about hearing somebody tell a story that helps you connect with it sometimes a little bit differently. So for those of you that are not sharing tonight, I encourage you to try and read it aloud to yourself this evening and to see what feelings it brings up. I'm comfortable sharing my piece. Mia, would you like to share yours as well?
Yeah, sure. I can share.
Yeah, okay. I can start things off just to be the first person to go. So my piece is untitled. Also a habit of mine not to name any of my work. My Google Drive is full of untitled documents. Really recommend not allowing that to happen. This is my piece. There is something about the smell of the upstairs hallway at my mother's house that turns me back into a 7-year-old again. Memories from this period are challenging for me to visualize, but that smell, a concoction of Chanel No. 5 and the orange zest of a roast chicken casserole floating through the house, linger in the air. It's reminiscent of a large family gathering. An abundance of food, a loud laughter felt by the adults, and a whispering giggle from the children that are bum shuffling down the stairs. The smell of the upstairs hallway lingers always, never dissipating or changing location. It clings to sweaters, to bed linen, and to waves of hair on a stranger's head, making visits to the upstairs hallway memorable for days on end. Even now, when I visit this house, I know which part of the staircase the smell will hit me. A warm waft of home and childhood and growing up and out and on to new upstairs hallways. I don't know what I ever expect when I share my writing, but it is nerve-wracking to read something aloud that you've written that came from nowhere 5 minutes ago. And I think that feeling is really important to kind of get over when you start writing, because if you want to become a successful writer, whether you work in brand strategy as a copywriter or if you want to get your book published, you have to get feedback. And getting feedback is a really uncomfortable process that I hated when I first started having that writer-editor relationship. Yeah. So reading aloud is a really helpful tool to kind of get out of your head and to stop worrying about what other people think of your work. And getting used to that feedback is essential if you want to start, developing a career as a writer. I encourage you to read confidently.
Okay. Yeah, I did not write nearly as much. I just have like a few sentences, but yeah, here's a little bit of what I wrote. Small lamps hung on fisherman ropes, the kind that would sway in the event of an earthquake. The quiet patter of strawberries splitting on a cutting board, and I knew I was home. So, yeah, that's what I have.
I love the way that you write.
Yeah.
You use words that don't naturally come to me in any kind of stream of consciousness piece. And that's like such an advantage to have like a subconscious vocabulary that's just so much more interesting. I'd love to know the answer to this, but I know that when people often they write, it takes like until the third or the fourth round of edits for that kind of sophisticated language to come up, because people are in stream of consciousness mode in very simple terms, just trying to get the idea down on paper. Is anybody here working on anything writing related, whether it's a cover letter or a short story or no? Okay, sometimes we have writers who are in the middle of all sorts of projects. And because of that, it can be hard to, in the earliest of stages, tell the full story you're trying to tell. So I think that these types of projects, these stream of consciousness exercises, are really helpful for getting great vocabulary down on paper, like Mia, maybe writing a larger chunk like I did of just something that was in my head, clearly, something I was thinking about. In this book, The Art of the Craft, there are countless writing prompts. And truthfully, you could find loads of writing prompts online. It's a great way of just consistently kind of using therapy in like self-writing to bring out your feelings. And sometimes you'll have no idea that something's living in your head. And then you'll do a stream of consciousness exercise. You'll be like, wow, I really didn't know that this was on my mind. So it's a great use of sort of like a self-care check-in that you could do every week that kind of gets you writing at the same time. So before we move on to questions, it's a small group tonight. I don't imagine this being a large Q&A, but there are a couple last questions that Mia and I wanted to answer that are related to our experience with the Girls Write Now program. So Mia, how has being mentored at Girls Write Now changed you as a writer?
Yeah, actually I was kind of excited about this question because I feel like the mentorship, especially the mentorship I received from you, really did help me like some of the things that we practiced like during our mentorship, like I still like use those skills like today. Like I was thinking about one of them because just simple like organizational stuff. Like every time like I write a paper or like just like some huge like body of writing, like I always like do like the outline like below like the document and just like write my little notes, like beforehand, just like make sure everything's organized.
Yeah, great.
Just little stuff like that, or even just like making like spreadsheets to make sure I'm on top of things, like stuff like that from our mentorship. Like it really did like help me improve just with like being organized and being structured and just like having like a better like work ethic. And I think that's something really special about this program is like, you learn a lot about writing and like how to be a better writer, but also just how to like be better at like just being like a hard worker, I guess, and just like
showing up for yourself.
Yeah, showing up for yourself, being diligent. I think those are skills that I really developed like from our like mentorship, and I think like I learned a lot, I think.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. I think it's very similar to being a mentor. I got to meet your parents, your family, your sister as well tonight. And I immediately told you the truth, which is not every mentee is like Mia, who shows up with a real hunger to become a better writer. And some people don't like being reminded that they need to check for spelling and grammar before they submit something. Like some people aren't interested in being given feedback, not even as a writer, but as like a person that's using productivity in their work. People don't like getting that kind of criticism, which is a really wonderful part of Girls Write Now, because in the delivery of criticism is where people really grow. They're able to build some resilience. They're not just disappointed in themselves for not submitting something that had a couple typos in. I think for me, being your mentor was really rewarding because not only did you show up, but you allowed me to be like the best mentor that I wanted to be able to help somebody. And you never know what you're going to get when you're partnered with a stranger from the internet who has, applied to a program, perhaps for, selfish reasons. They want that credit on their resume for their college application or something. And it was just such an honor to be partnered with somebody who was really enjoying writing. You made me enjoy writing a lot more. And I also think accountability plays a big role in what Girls Write Now is trying to do. By partnering writers together, people come out with more written work. It's just inevitable. You're putting creative people together and they are being forced to do something, and it always leads to something really special. So that was a really rewarding part for me. And you're very missed in the
Yeah.
community right now. I know the answer to this already, but did Girls Right Now help you do anything? Did you get anywhere by using the program?
Well, I mean, I guess I already said this, but I go to UCLA now for English. I do think this program did help me a little bit in that regard. And just like, I just think like, yeah, like, I don't know, like just in general, like I feel like I learned a lot from this program. And I just feel like it's just given me like a sharper eye when it comes to looking at writing. Because like, you know, now as like an English major, you know, like I do a lot of reading, of course, you know, like I read through a lot of stories, and I feel like just getting that like kind of like practice and exposure to like writing, I think it really did help me just kind of like look at writing with a more critical eye, I think. So
that's great. I do have one last question before we hand it over to if anyone has questions in here. I noticed in your bio for this event that you're interested in transitioning your writing skills into marketing and advertising.
Right.
I mean, I love that because that's the area that I work in. Can you tell me anything more about like what you're hoping to do with your writing skill?
Yeah. I think, you know, I'm still thinking about things a little bit. But I do think I was thinking about getting into either like advertising for publishing, or just something that has to do with something like with in regards to like creative storytelling. I think I want to do something with like advertising, because I think that that's always been something that's been like near and dear to my heart, as cheesy as it is. So I do want to do something like that, like for my career. So
that's great. And it goes to show that the network that Girls Right Now cultivates helps people that are at mentee stages with mentors to get jobs. There are plenty of opportunities for networking in the Girls Right Now community. I know that I've reached out to other mentors for job hunting. So I'm encouraging anyone who's interested to apply as a mentee or as a mentor to this program. Job hunting is really hard. And then having a community like Girls Right Now only helps to make that a whole lot easier by making that introduction of what you have in common with a stranger a little bit easier and a little bit smaller. Does anybody have any questions? Great. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining. And for those of you that did write something, like I said, I really encourage you to take this home and to read it aloud to yourselves. It helps with the writing process. Don't ask me why, it just does. And if you're looking for more writing prompts or an excuse to get to know Girls Right Now as an organization, I encourage you to pick up a copy of Art of the Craft and to sign up for updates from the website as well. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
yeah.
Good job.